We were walking around campus at nearly 2 in the morning, like two people who couldn't sleep. The rain had completely stopped, but the pavement was still wet, reflecting the warm glow of streetlights stretched between Westbridge's red brick buildings. The air was cold enough that both our breaths came out in white clouds. Hunter was walking close beside me, very close. Occasionally our shoulders would brush against each other, and every time they did, my heart reacted like some idiot falling in love for the first time. Which, technically, was exactly true. I still can't believe this is real, I said. You and me. Hunter glanced over. Want me to pinch myself to prove it? I'm being serious. So am I. His voice softened noticeably. I looked down at my shoes to avoid holding that gaze too long. We walked past the outdoor basketball court. The rim still held rainwater, the white net swaying gently in the wind. Hunter suddenly kicked a stray ball lying nearby toward me. Want to play? I hate basketball. You've never played with me. I've played with guys 6'3" in high school. I grimaced. That was basically legal bullying. Hunter burst out laughing. Come here. I'm not. Too late. He already shoved the ball into my hands. Just one shot. If I miss, don't laugh. Can't promise that. I glared at him, then stepped up to the nearest free throw line. Fine. I shot. The ball smacked the backboard and bounced back out in completely the wrong direction. Hunter laughed so hard he had to double over. I hate you, I announced. Wait, he was still laughing. That was the most creative shot I've ever seen. I'm going back to my room. Blake, come on. I turned to fake walk away and Hunter immediately jogged after me, grabbing my wrist. Okay, I'm sorry. Too late. No, seriously. He was still smiling, pulling me back around. Let me make it up to you. How? Hunter stepped behind me and put the ball back in my hands. And then, he pressed close. My heart nearly stopped. His chest lightly touched my back. One arm reached around to correct my grip on the ball, the other barely brushing my elbow. Every muscle in my body went rigid. Hunter, I said very quietly. You're trying to kill me. I'm teaching you how to shoot. Bullshit. He laughed right beside my ear. Damn it. Raise your hand a little higher, Hunter murmured. Yeah. Like that. I couldn't focus at all. The faint scent of his cologne on his hoodie, the warmth of his body, his low voice right against my ear. This was torture. Blake, I can't hear anything right now. Hunter paused for a few seconds. Then he laughed very softly. Cute. Don't flirt when I'm struggling. Who do you think caused the struggle? I turned my head to glare at him. Big mistake. Our faces were suddenly close enough that our noses nearly touched. Hunter went quiet. So did I. The air around us seemed to slow down. His hand was still resting on my hip. My heart was beating so hard it ached. Hunter. I exhaled. His eyes dropped to my lips on instinct. Then very softly he asked, Can I kiss you? Not the confident, teasing tone from before. A genuine question, careful and sincere enough to make my heart completely melt. I nodded almost immediately. Hunter kissed me slower this time. Not the brief brush of lips in the hallway anymore. A real kiss. Warm, soft. It emptied my head completely. My hands unconsciously grabbed the front of his hoodie as Hunter pulled me closer. God, I had imagined this so many times. But nothing I imagined could have prepared me for what it actually felt like to be kissed by Hunter. He kissed like he was holding something back. Very gentle, very slow, and somehow that made it even more dangerous. When Hunter pulled back, his forehead still rested lightly against mine. Both of us were breathing a little harder. Wow, I whispered. Hunter laughed, low and rough. Is that your only vocabulary tonight? I blame you. Fair. He traced his fingers lightly over my wrist. Such a small gesture, but intimate enough to be terrifying. I should say this first, Hunter said quietly. I've never done this with a guy before. I blinked. Never? Yeah. And you're that good at kissing? Hunter laughed. Is that a compliment? Maybe, I'll take it. I looked at him for a few seconds, then asked softly, Are you scared? For the first time tonight, Hunter was quiet for a long moment. The cold wind swept across the basketball court, ruffling his hair slightly. Yeah, he finally admitted. His answer was so honest it made my chest ache. I never thought I'd like a guy, he continued. Especially not this much. I swallowed. Hunter. But every time I'm around you, he laughed quietly, helplessly. Everything just feels right somehow. My chest hurt in the most tender way. I had never seen Hunter this vulnerable before, and the fact that he was letting me see the side of him made me want to hold him tight. So I did. I stepped forward and wrapped my arms around him. Hunter stiffened for just a second, then pulled me back almost immediately. He held on tight, the kind of hug that made you feel held in place. We stood like that in the empty basketball court at 2 in the morning, under the faded campus lights after the rain. And for the first time in a very long time, I felt like my heart was finally in the right place. I'm scared too, I admitted, so quietly it nearly dissolved into his collar. Hunter's arms tightened slightly. Because of me? Because of everything. He nodded very gently, like he understood completely. I don't want you to have to do this alone, he said. That sentence almost killed me on the spot. We pulled apart after a few minutes. Hunter looked at me and suddenly smiled. You know what's the funniest part? What? If the elevator hadn't broken, we'd probably still be pretending. I laughed. You're right. I hate that elevator. Me too. But... He stepped a little closer. Maybe it was worth it. My heart melted for the 100th time tonight. I was about to respond when Hunter's phone buzzed again. He groaned quietly and took it out. The screen showed, Mason. Hunter immediately grimaced. Your best friend? I asked. Yeah. You should answer. Really shouldn't he? But the phone kept buzzing. Finally Hunter sighed and picked up. What? A guy's voice came through loud enough for me to hear. Bro, where are you? I came by your room and you're not. Then silence. Hold on. The voice was suddenly suspicious. Why do I hear wind? Hunter closed his eyes like he had a headache. Mason. Oh my God. The other person yelled. You outside with someone? Aren't you? I bit my lip to keep from laughing. You're such a pain. Who is it? Hunter glanced at me. Then before I could react, he said plainly. It's Blake. The other end went silent for exactly 2 seconds. Then, the coffee guy? I almost choked on air. Hunter immediately covered his face with his hand. I hate you. Wait, Mason was practically screaming through the phone. You on a date with coffee guy? We're not on a date. I raised an eyebrow at Hunter. He looked back at me and immediately corrected himself. Not officially. My heart betrayed me again. From the other end came a sound like someone witnessing the plot twist of the century. I knew it, Mason yelled. I knew it. Knew what? You literally look at him like a golden retriever every time you walk past the coffee shop. I burst out laughing and had to turn away. Hunter glared at me. Don't encourage this. Sorry, but it's genuinely funny. Blake is laughing at me, Hunter said into the phone. Accusingly. As he should. Mason. Okay. The voice on the other end was still buzzing with excitement. I just want to say, finally, you did something before you died an old man. I'm hanging up. Wait. Mason lowered his voice dramatically. Have you kissed yet? Hunter went silent. I went silent. Mason shrieked like a fire alarm. Oh my God. You kissed. Hunter hung up immediately. I laughed until my stomach hurt. Hunter just stood there looking at me with complete helplessness. I don't know if I should be embarrassed for you or for myself. I said, Mason is why I have high blood pressure at 20. I already like him. Don't encourage him. I was still laughing when Hunter stepped closer. You're enjoying this, aren't you? I never thought I'd live to hear your best friend call me coffee guy. That's literally how he saved your name in his phone. I clutched my chest. I feel so respected. Hunter laughed and tugged lightly on my sleeve. Cold yet? Only then did I realize my hands actually were freezing. A little. Let us go. He nodded toward the dorms. I'll walk you back. I can get there myself. I know. Then why do you still want to walk me? Hunter looked at me with an expression that said, do you really need to ask? And damn it. I loved that look too much. We walked slowly toward the dormitory. Campus was almost entirely asleep by now. A few lit windows scattered across the upper floors. The sound of insects mingling with the drip of water after the rain. I had never wanted a night to last as long as I did in that moment. What time's your first class tomorrow? Hunter asked. 8 o'clock. He winced. Brutal. What about you? 10. I hate you all over again. Hunter laughed softly. I could get you coffee before class. My heart skipped again. Are you asking me on a date? Seems like it. Wow. I pressed a hand to my chest dramatically. Hunter Reed finally asked someone out. Don't make me feel old. I'll consider it. He nudged my shoulder lightly. Tomorrow? I looked at him for a few seconds, then nodded. Tomorrow. A smile appeared on Hunter's lips immediately. Not too wide, but genuine enough to make my stomach warm. When we reached the front of the dorms, both of us slowed down like neither wanted to go inside first. I leaned against the steps and looked at him. So, I drew it out. What are we doing here? Hunter shoved both hands into his hoodie pocket. What do you mean? Like? I bit my lip. He was quiet for a few seconds. I don't know. His eyes softened. But I want to figure it out seriously. My chest tightened. Not the kind of thing you say casually. Not flirting. Genuinely serious. Me too, I admitted. Hunter stepped a little closer. Good. The air went very quiet again. Too close. Too dangerous. I swear his eyes at that moment were a biological weapon. You're looking at my mouth again. I murmured. Yeah. Hunter. Blake. I need to sleep. I know. Then why are you still standing this close? The corner of his mouth curved up. Because you Haven T told me to move. I hated that he was right. I looked at him for a few seconds, then sighed like surrendering. Come here. Hunter was almost already smiling before he leaned down and kissed me again. This time I was bolder. My hands grabbed his hoodie and pulled him closer while Hunter lightly traced his fingers along my side. God, I never understood why people got addicted to kissing someone until right now. When we pulled apart, both of us were a little disoriented. Hunter rested his forehead against mine and laughed softly. I'm not going to be able to focus tomorrow. Neither am I. Worth it. Definitely. I was about to say more when, from behind the glass door of the dorm, there was a sudden loud bang. We both startled and turned. Ethan was standing inside with the expression of someone who had just watched a dramatic TV finale. Right next to him was Nina, and further back, about 5 other friends, all of them staring at us, mouths hanging open. I wanted to die on the spot. Oh my God, they re-kissing again. Nina screamed through the glass. Hunter laughed so hard he bent over. And me? I had officially lost all dignity. The next morning I woke up feeling like I'd just lived through a fever dream. Then my phone buzzed. Hunter. Morning. Still like me? I buried my face in my pillow and groaned. Ethan looked over from his bed. Is that basketball boy? I'm going to kill Nina. Too late. He grinned. News has already spread across the whole floor. I sat bolt upright. What? Bro, someone saw you two making out outside the dorm at 2 in the morning. We were not making out. Ethan pulled a face. Okay, emotionally aggressive kissing then. I threw my pillow at him again. The phone buzzed again. Hunter, I'm downstairs with coffee. And I think your friends want to photograph me like I'm an exotic animal. My heart melted immediately. I ran to the window. And sure enough, Hunter was standing in the courtyard below holding 2 cups of coffee. Around him were a handful of students pretending to walk past but very obviously staring. One girl literally walked into a pole from watching him. I burst out laughing uncontrollably. Oh no, Ethan said with delight, watching my reaction. You're actually gone for him. I've been gone for him for a while. Fair. I changed quickly and ran downstairs. The moment I stepped outside, Hunter spotted me first. And the way his face lit up. God. Nobody should be allowed to look at me like that. Hi, he said, holding out a cup toward me. Hi. I took the warm coffee. On top of the foam was a lopsided heart shape that was almost funny. I laughed immediately. What is this? Hunter looked slightly defensive. I tried. You made this yourself? Yeah. My chest ached in the most gentle way. Hunter. I looked back at the terribly drawn heart and smiled. Something soft giving way in me. It's beautiful. You're a terrible liar. Shut up. He laughed. And for the first time in my entire college life, I no longer had to hide the fact that I was looking at Hunter for too long. Everyone finding out about me and Hunter happened faster than I expected. More precisely, way too fast. By that afternoon, when I walked into Brew Lab to start my shift, my manager looked at me with a very knowing smile. "Oh," she said, drawing it out, "so that S.Y. Hunter Reed keeps showing up here." I nearly dropped my tray. "What? Did you think we weren't paying attention?" She raised an eyebrow. "The kid orders an Americano 3 times a week even though he clearly hates bitter coffee." I froze. Hunter hated Americanos? But he always ordered exactly that. "Don't tell me you didn't know." She laughed when she saw my face. I held my head. Holy shit. I was still trying to recover from that information when the door chime rang. And as if the universe wanted to take another shot at my heart, Hunter walked in. Black bomber jacket, hair slightly windblown, backpack slung over one shoulder. A group of students at the table near the door literally went silent watching him walk past. I understood them. Hunter scanned the cafe for a moment, then his eyes landed on me, and he smiled. The kind of smile that was only for me. My chest softened immediately. "Oh my God." My coworker Jade whispered beside me. "That's the look of someone in love." "I'm quitting." Too late. Hunter walked up to the counter. "Hi." "Hi." We looked at each other for slightly longer than normal. Jade stood beside us watching like she was streaming live Netflix. "Should I leave?" she asked. "Please." Rude. Hunter smiled softly. "I came to bother you. You're doing great." "I know." So confident. "Because you're blushing." I hate him. Jade made a pained, delighted noise and retreated entirely into the back of the counter. "Traitor. I can't believe everyone already knows," I muttered. Hunter leaned his elbow on the counter. "Campus gossip is terrifying. You seem calm about it." "Not really." He smiled lightly. "Mason sent me 32 texts this morning." "I don't want to know." He asked when he could be best man. I nearly choked. "We've been kissing for less than 24 hours. Tell that to Mason." I was still laughing when the door chimed again, and the smile on Hunter's face vanished almost immediately. I turned around on instinct. A blonde girl walked in. Tall, model pretty, wearing an oversized knit sweater and a cream-colored scarf. She scanned the cafe and smiled when she saw Hunter. "Oh, there you are." I stiffened. Hunter exhaled very quietly. "Hey, Sophie." "Okay." My chest felt strange all of a sudden. Sophie walked up to Hunter very naturally. "I've been texting you all morning." She glanced at me once, then looked back at Hunter. "Where did you disappear to?" "Was busy." The girl looked at him for a few seconds and narrowed her eyes. "Wait." I looked down at the cloth in my hands as if I were suddenly extremely occupied. "Don't overthink. Don't overthink." Hunter never said what we were to each other, but the uneasy feeling crept into my chest anyway, like cold water. "Ah," Sophie said slowly. "I see." Hunter gave her a mildly warning look. "Sophomore." I didn't say anything. She laughed and turned to me. "You're Blake, right?" I looked up. "Yeah." "I'm Sophie." She held out her hand. I shook it on reflex, but my mind was spinning. Sophie looked between me and Hunter with a very knowing smile. I never thought this day would come. "Okay," Hunter said right away. "Enough." Hunter Reed finally acting like a human being? This is clearly a historical event. I laughed even though I didn't fully understand. Hunter looked at me and muttered, "Don't listen to her." Too late. Sophie propped her chin on the counter and watched me with great interest. "You know," she said to me, "he once, don't, spent a whole hour scrolling through your Instagram stories." My God," Hunter groaned. I turned to him immediately. "You were stalking my Instagram?" Hunter put his hand over his face. "I hate everyone." I was trying not to laugh when Sophie continued. "He also asked me whether he should cut his hair the way you like it." I went completely still. "What? You're betraying me," sophomore deserved. I looked at Hunter, who was literally trying to disappear from the face of the earth and couldn't hold back anymore. I laughed loudly. It was the first time I'd seen him genuinely embarrassed. And honestly, it was one of the most endearing things I had ever seen. After Sophie left, Hunter kept his face buried in his hands for nearly a minute. "I can't believe she said all of that." "I can." I was laughing hard enough to hurt. You actually scrolled through my Instagram for an hour? I wasn't stalking. Hunter. Okay, fine. He sighed. I just liked looking at your photos. My heart melted right then. Not fair. Nobody gets to be both that attractive and say things like that. I hate you, I said, far more quietly than intended. No, you don't. He looked at me with very soft eyes. And God. I was completely finished. A customer walked up to the counter, so I had to turn and work. But while I was making coffee, I could feel Hunter's eyes following me. Are you just going to stand there? I asked without looking up. Maybe. I'm working. I know. Then why are you watching me? I like watching. My hands nearly spilled the hot milk. From the back, Jade let out a pained cough. Jesus Christ, she muttered. These two are dangerously sweet. Hunter smiled. I wanted to bang my head against the espresso machine. That evening, after my shift, Hunter was waiting outside the cafe. It was colder than the night before. Campus sank into warm amber light and the sound of leaves rustling in the wind. There's something I want to show you, Hunter said as we started walking. That sounds suspicious. Trust me. I literally got stuck in an elevator with you just yesterday. And you survived. Debatable. Hunter laughed and led me through the arts district behind campus. We stopped in front of the architecture studio building. Here. Why do you bring me here? Because I want to show off. Show off what? Hunter didn't answer right away. He just opened the studio door and nodded for me to go in first. Inside was nearly empty. Just a few desk lamps glowing dimly, architectural models and blueprints spread everywhere. The smell of paper, charcoal, and old coffee filled the air. Hunter led me to a desk in the corner. Then he hesitated slightly, which was rare for Hunter Reed. Okay, he said quietly. Don't laugh. I'm already worried. He pulled a large sheet of paper from beneath a stack of drawings. And my heart stopped. It was me. Not a photo. Pencil sketch. I was sitting by the window at Brew Lab, head tilted down in laughter, holding a cup of coffee. Every line was so soft and alive I could barely breathe. Hunter. He scratched the back of his neck. A little awkward. I drew it while I was at the cafe. I looked at the stack of papers underneath, then went completely still again. There was more than one. Many more. Me reading a book. Me dozing off behind the counter. Me talking and laughing with customers. Me standing outside in the rain. All of me. Every single one. My chest hurt in the strangest way. You drew me. This much? Hunter looked at me for a few seconds and smiled quietly. I told you I've liked you for a long time. I couldn't say anything for nearly a minute. Just stood there staring at the sketches in front of me like someone who lost their mind. No one had ever looked at me like this before. No one had ever paid attention to my small, ordinary moments long enough to turn them into art. There was one of me asleep over my books in the library. Another of me standing outside the cafe in the snow. There was even one of me laughing with Nina, head tilted back the way it does when I don't know anyone else watching. My heart ached in the most tender way. Hunter. I looked up at him. Are you obsessed with me? He laughed softly, dipping his head slightly. Seems like it. I'm being serious. So am I? Damn it. I looked at the drawings again. Every pencil line was so gentle. The kind of gentleness people only give to things they truly love. You've never shown these to anyone? I asked quietly. Hunter shook his head. You're the first. My chest tightened. Why? He was quiet for a moment, then leaned his hip against the desk behind him. Because they're about you. That sentence nearly killed me. The studio was so quiet I could hear the faint hum of a heater somewhere in the distance. Hunter looked at me with eyes I could never hold for more than 5 seconds. Too real. Too much. Do I sound creepy? He asked. I laughed helplessly. Hunter, you have a secret collection of drawings of your crush. So it's creepy. Extremely. He groaned quietly and covered his face. I knew it. But I stepped closer, heart going wild. It's also the sweetest thing that ever happened to me. Hunter slowly lowered his hands. The look in his eyes shifted immediately when he heard that. Softened completely. Yeah? He asked softly. I nodded. And then before I could think, I pulled his hoodie down and kissed him. Hunter responded almost instantly. His hands wrapped around my waist and pulled me close while I was still laughing against his mouth because I was so overwhelmed. God. Every time I kissed Hunter, I forgot how to function normally. When we pulled apart, he still held me. Can I say something embarrassingly sentimental? He asked. Too late. I like when you're the one who initiates. My face went hot immediately. I'm taking that kiss back. Liar. I hate how well he knows me already. We stayed in the studio for nearly 2 more hours. I sat on Hunter's work table while he made adjustments to an unfinished architectural model. Occasionally he'd show me a design, explaining passionately about light, space, and texture as if it were the most fascinating thing in the world. And honestly, when Hunter talked about something he loved, I could have listened all night. Do I sound nerdy? He asked after a long explanation about vaulted ceilings. Terribly. Hunter laughed. I just exposed my entire soul to you. I like it. I propped my chin in my hand and watched him. You're cute when you're excited. He stopped mid-cut on the model. Did you just call me cute? Maybe. Holy shit. Easy there. Hunter set down the box cutter and stepped toward me. No. He braced both hands on either side of the table, boxing me into that narrow space. I'm just enjoying the fact that my crush likes me back. My heart betrayed me again. You are dangerously good at this. And you blush too easily. I will block you. You'd miss me in 5 minutes. I hated that he was right. Hunter was leaning down to kiss me again when, Yo, Hunter. The studio door swung open. A tall guy walked in mid-sentence, then froze. Me and Hunter froze too, because the distance between us at that moment was deeply incriminating. The guy blinked several times. Hunter closed his eyes like he had a migraine. Troy. No. Troy raised both hands in surrender. I didn't see anything. You clearly saw everything. I just came to grab the model. Troy's eyes shifted to me and suddenly lit up. Wait, you're a coffee guy. I was gonna lose my mind over that nickname. Why does everyone call me that? Bro, Hunter literally talks about you nonstop. My God, Hunter groaned. Troy paid him absolutely no attention. I used to think he secretly joined some kind of coffee cult. Troy. Then I realized he was just simping for you incredibly hard. I bit my lip to keep from laughing. Hunter looked at me with complete desperation. Don't encourage him. Too late, I said through laughter. Troy grabbed the model but still didn't leave. He stood there looking between me and Hunter like we were his favorite sitcom. Honestly, Troy said. Finally. Hunter crossed his arms. Did everyone know? Bro. Troy looked at him like he was a child. You looked at Blake the way people look at puppies in pet shop windows. I laughed so hard I had to lean against Hunter's shoulder. And the worst part was, Hunter was laughing too. Okay, bye, Troy said, heading for the door. You two have fun. Then he stopped. Oh, Hunter? What now? Proud of you. The air suddenly softened. Hunter went very still. Troy just smiled and pulled the door shut behind him. I looked at Hunter. He was staring at the floor with a contemplative expression. Hey, I called softly. Hunter looked up. Your friends are really good people. The corner of his mouth curved gently. Yeah. I stepped a little closer. You okay? Hunter was quiet for a moment. Then he nodded very slightly. I think He laughed quietly, almost helplessly. I never imagined things could be like this. Like what? Like. His eyes came back to mine, being myself without being afraid. My chest seized. I didn't think anymore. I hugged him again. Hunter wrapped his arms around me almost immediately, his face tucking lightly into my hair. I know that feeling, I whispered. And I really did. Growing up in a small suburban town in Illinois wasn't easy when you realized you liked guys. Took me years to stop feeling like something was wrong with me. So standing here now, in Hunter's arms, being looked at with that expression full of warmth. It felt like finally being able to breathe normally after holding it for so long. I like you so much, Hunter said quietly against my ear. My heart went completely soft. I know. No. He pulled back slightly to look at me. I mean a lot. I couldn't smile anymore. Just felt my chest aching in the most unbearable tenderness. You can't say things like that while looking at me like that. Like what? Like. I swallowed. Like I'm the best thing you've ever seen. Hunter looked at me for a few more seconds. Then he smiled very small. But you are. And God. I was in love with him. I realized I loved Hunter at the moment he was sitting on the studio floor eating cold French fries at nearly midnight. Not while we were kissing. Not when he told me he liked me. But the moment he frowned at a ketchup packet that wouldn't open, turned to me, and asked in complete seriousness, "Do you think I'd die if I used a box cutter on this?" And I laughed so hard I nearly fell off the chair. That was when I knew I was done for. "Give it here," I said through laughter, snatching the packet from his hand. "You study architecture, not surgery." Hunter watched me tear it open barehanded with an expression of exaggerated admiration. "Hot? No." He stuffed a fry in his mouth and propped his head on the edge of the table to look at me. "I like hearing your voice." My heart melted again. Not fair at all. It was nearly 12:30 by the time we left the studio. Campus was unusually still at night. The amber streetlights stretched along the dewy paths, cold wind making me shiver. Hunter immediately pulled me close with one arm around my shoulder. "You're cold." "I'm fine." "Liar." He pulled down his own jacket zipper slightly and drew me in closer underneath the wide panel. I laughed because it was so ridiculous. We look like an old married couple 30 years in. "It's cute. You call everything cute because you make everything cute." I had to turn my face away to hide my smile. Hunter saw it anyway. "I like when you smile like that," he said quietly. "Hunter. HM? My heart can't take much more of this." He laughed, low and warm, and kissed lightly into my hair. We were passing the library when I stopped. "What?" Hunter asked. I pointed up to the second floor behind the glass. "That spot." Hunter looked. It was the corner table by the window where I'd once fallen asleep the year before. Where Hunter had bought me coffee for the first time. A very small smile appeared on his lips. "You remember?" "Now I do." Hunter was quiet for a moment, then put his hands in his pockets. "I sat watching you sleep for almost 20 minutes. I laughed in disbelief. Creep. Fair. Why didn't you wake me up?" "Because." He looked down at the path. "You looked peaceful." My chest tightened. I swear if he said one more thing like that I was going to propose to him right there. "You look at me like I'm made of gold," I murmured. Hunter turned toward me immediately. "You don't know how remarkable you are, do you?" My heart skipped a beat. I couldn't answer. Because no one had ever said anything like that to me before. No one had ever looked at me like I deserved to be loved that much. Hunter stopped walking. Then, very gently, he raised his hand and touched my cheek. "I like how you always take care of everyone," he said softly. "I like the way you smile at people even when you're exhausted. I like that you always remember what everyone drinks." My eyes went warm unexpectedly. "Damn it. I also like how you blush every time I flirt." He smiled softly. "That one's fun." I laughed through whatever was tightening in my throat. "You are genuinely dangerous." "Yeah." Hunter ran his thumb lightly beneath my eye. "But I mean every word." A long silence stretched out. Just the sound of leaves rustling across campus. Then I heard myself say, "I think I'm falling in love with you." Everything suddenly stood still. Hunter didn't blink. Didn't say anything. He just looked at me like he'd just heard the most important thing of his life. And oh God, I'd actually said it. I immediately panicked. "Okay, wow, that came out fast." Hunter kissed me. Right there on the empty path in front of the library. Without hesitation. Without holding back. One hand cradled my face while the other pulled me close. This kiss was different from all the others. Deeper. Stronger. Full of so much feeling I could barely keep my footing. When he pulled back, his forehead rested against mine. "I love you too," he breathed. My heart ached sharply. "Hunter, I know it sounds a little crazy." He smiled softly, eyes still on mine. "But I think I've loved you for a while now. I had never been this happy before. Not the loud, overwhelming kind of happy, but a warmth spreading through my chest, like finally finding the place where you belong." Hunter gently brushed my hair back from my ear. "Are you crying?" "I'm not crying." He laughed and kissed the corner of my eye. "I like you so much it's unreasonable." "Good." I pulled his collar down slightly. "Because same." 3 weeks later, the whole campus officially thought of us as a couple. And honestly, they were right. Hunter practically lived at the cafe where I worked. I started sleeping in his room more often than my own. Mason and Troy had adopted me into their friend group, and Nina kept insisting she D-shipped it from the start. Life suddenly felt lighter, easier to breathe, and the strangest thing was, Hunter always made me feel chosen, even though he was the kind of person every eye in a room gravitated toward. One evening at the end of October, I got stuck in an elevator again. Not alone this time, of course. Hunter was standing beside me with 2 bags of food when the elevator lurched, then stopped dead between floors. I stared at the indicator panel for a few seconds, then started laughing uncontrollably. Hunter looked at me like I'd lost my mind. "Are you okay?" He started calling me you in private, a softness that belonged only to these moments between us. And every time, my heart still reacted the same way it did the very first night. "I think this elevator is haunted," I said through my laughter. Hunter sighed dramatically. "I cannot believe this is happening again." The red emergency light came on, exactly like the first time. I looked around the small space, then back at him. Funny thing is, I stepped closer. I don't hate being stuck anymore. The corner of Hunter's mouth curved up slowly. "Yeah." I nodded, because last time it led me to you. His expression softened immediately. "Come here." The moment I stepped forward, Hunter pulled me into his arms. He kissed the top of my head, then rested his chin there like it was the most natural place in the world. Outside, rain began to fall again, exactly like the first night. Only this time, I wasn't afraid. Hunter said quietly, "This might be the greatest elevator in America." That's such a stupid thing to say, but true. I tilted my head back to look at him under the soft red emergency light. Still Hunter Reed. Still those gray-blue eyes that had undone me from the very beginning. Only now, when he looked at me, I no longer had to wonder if I had a chance. Because I was right here, in his arms, loved back with every tenderness I had ever let myself dream of. And honestly, if I could do it all over again, I'd still walk into that elevator that night.